Good morning. My name is John Talk. I'm privileged to be the rector here at Emmanuel Episcopal Church in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I want to say thank you for joining us this Wednesday morning for our study of the Beatitudes. As we discussed last week, the Beatitudes are part of the Sermon on the Mount. They're part of the core of Jesus' teaching in the Gospel according to Matthew. Today, we're going to take a look at the first of the 8 Beatitudes that we have been given. Very simply, according to the Jerusalem Bible, happy are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And again, as I said last week, Jesus does something very interesting. He says happy, or in some translations, blessed, are the blank, for they will blank. So today it's happy are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, what does this mean? What does it mean to be poor in spirit? Perhaps we can come at it the other way. What does it not mean to be poor in spirit? First, it doesn't mean to live in actual economic poverty. The Bible does not romanticize physical economic poverty. It does privilege economic simplicity, living a simple life and being generous, but it never romanticizes not having enough to eat. It never romanticizes not having a place to stay. It never romanticizes not having your daily needs met. So it's not physical poverty. It's also not emotional poverty. It's not feeling like crud about yourself. It's not bowel-breathing yourself. Oh, I am so worthless. Oh, I am so depressed. Oh, I am so not worthy. No, rather it seems to me to be about being humble. Happy are those who are poor in spirit. Happy are those who are humble, who know that they're human beings, and thus who know that they're dependent on God, and who know that they are interdependent on each other. And we see this idea of dependence on God and interdependence with other human beings explicated throughout the biblical text. No one in the biblical text does anything that honors God by themselves. It's always within community. We're sent out 2 by 2 to preach and to teach and to baptize and to be Christians. We're called into community in the church. We're called into community in our communities. And it seems to me that blessed are those who recognize this reality, that we're not called to be the Lone Ranger. Rather, we're called to be dependent on and responsible to each other. Happy are the poor in spirit, for those are the kingdom of heaven. And isn't that the payoff? The kingdom of heaven as a community, as a nation, gather around the throne of God. The kingdom of heaven as our true home. Remember that in Greek, the word for home is oikos, from which we get our word economy, or nation, interdependence, etc., etc., etc. So as you read your Bible today, especially your Matthew chapter 5, think about this. Think about how you are interdependent on other human beings, your spouse, your children, your parents, your co-workers, your neighbors, your strangers down the street, how they rely on you and you rely on them. But especially think about how you are utterly and completely dependent on God and all God's gifts. For yours, when we recognize this, is the kingdom of heaven. Not simply this day, but forever and ever.